NiMSA, and what can also refer to it for other people that might want to learn similar thing in the future. But if anybody is not comfortable with the recording, please let us know. All right. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to write a proposal. I think we've talked about how to write a proposal, but I'm probably going to just show you how to write a proposal, because enough of talking, and let's just do it. So let's just do a proposal. Okay. So I'll go briefly over how to, okay, great. So I'll go briefly over how to write and what should a research proposal contain. And then I will now show you how to write one. I'll probably take a research topic from maybe 1 or 2 persons and use it to show you how to write one and what I would do if I'm writing. Superb. Okay. But let me just get a feel of the room. That might be okay. And it's been really useful for you people that have been coming. I know we used to be like 90, 100 at the start, but now I'm seeing maybe like 40. So, but let me just say a thumbs up for people if you think that this bootcamp has been useful for you. If you think that you've learned something, and okay, great, excellent. All right. Okay, so yeah, okay, I'm going to allow Oluwabori, please talk, and Oluwabori and
I only indicated, no, it's okay. I mean, the meeting is very okay. I only just also indicated that it's fine.
Okay, great. What about Hamzat? I know that people that raised up their hand. Okay, maybe there's a mistake as well. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to show you what I have, and then we'll just dive into the issues. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay. Excellent. So I can actually put out the video. Okay. Share screen, second screen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to focus on practically on how to write a research proposal. Some of the things I have said before about what a proposal should contain, I'll quickly go over it briefly, then we'll now stay on writing one. And so this is what I hope that we'll achieve today, to understand the format of a proposal, and then to learn how to logically connect the sections of the proposal together for coherence, and to know and be able to identify the common mistakes that people make in writing proposals so that you can avoid them, and then to practically see how the proposal is being written. Now, I believe that I've mentioned this before, but let me say it again. So your research proposal is like the template, it's like the blueprint, or the Bible, what do you say, for your study. So it's the blueprint, is the guide, is the manual for your research study that you want to do. And usually you want to get a proposal at the beginning of your study for several reasons. One is that you want to have, if you want to build a house, you will come the course, you sit down, you draw a plan, you have an architect come with a building plan. So that's what a proposal is for your study. Also, very importantly, because at high level, when you have a proposal, you will need to get ethical approval. You need to get ethical approval for some of the studies, not all of them, for some of the studies. So usually those ethical approval bodies are institutional review, but they need to see your proposal to know what you want to do, to be sure that it is appropriate and aligns with ethical guidelines, and then they can approve it before you do your study. Not all studies need ethical approval anyway, because when you want to do reviews, you don't need ethical approval. But for those ones, you need to get the proposal to those IRB bodies. Then, if you're also looking for a funder, if you want me to fund your study, then I need to see what you want to do. So usually they also should also show it to funders. You also use your proposals to share with your collaborators. If you're working with a couple of people and you want them to, or all of you to be on the same page regarding the study that you are doing, so you want to draft the proposal first, and then all of you move it around, edit it among yourself, then you have your template. Now, it is good for you to have that blueprint because you keep going back to it to say, oh, so when we get to this point, we'll do this. This is what we are now going to do. So it's going to keep guiding you through all the process of your study. Okay. And so if you want to submit for ethical body, usually, and this is my experience, different ethical bodies have different guidelines for how to write a proposal. We are going to talk broadly about all the general things that a proposal should contain. There may not be a few, one or two things that you now need to move around in terms of how you format your proposal that might be different for each ethical bodies. But usually, you can just follow a standard way and everything will be there. Then, we're also going to use like this standard format for like an observational study. Because if you want to do a review, like you want to do a systematic review or scoping review, the format is also different for your proposal. Now, if you want to do a systematic review, you also need to have a proposal, and that proposal, you need to publish it online. I mean, that's the general plan. Now, you publish your systematic review template proposal online before you start the systematic review. The reason why you are doing that, I think it doesn't used to be this serious anyway. The reason why you are doing that is so that somebody else will not start doing that your work, because systematic review is hectic. So you don't want to do something and then two of you are doing it at the end. You see that you've duplicated one another's work. So it's a waste of that. It's like reinventing the wheel. So if somebody's already doing, when you check online, it's that somebody's already doing a particular systematic review, you don't want to do it. The other reason is also so that even you yourself, you hold yourself to account, so that you will not go and start changing it. And you see that, I've gone this place, or somewhere in the method is not difficult, so I want to change it. If you have a proposal published, then you will not change it. You also do the similar thing like that for clinical trials. If you're doing a clinical trial, you have to publish your protocol, which is this proposal. You will need to write it up and publish it online. And the reason is so that somebody else will not do the same thing, because it's a very hectic, and then so that you also not change your mind. If you say, I'm going to include short people of so height of less than 5 feet inside, if you now notice that, I'm sorry, this is a bad example, but anyway, if anybody is less than 5 feet, it's not a problem. I'm just saying, if you now notice that you're finding it difficult to find people that are less than 5 feet, you now escalated to change it to 5.5. You shouldn't do that. You should stick with your protocol. If you want to change something like that, you might have to write to the ethical body again before you can change. Okay, so I've given enough introduction onto how or why you need a proposal for your study. Now let's go into the format of a proposal. So usually a proposal will contain these things that you can see on the screen. So you want to, let me see if I can show this full screen. Okay. So can you still see my full screen, or you're seeing a presenter screen?
Full screen.
Excellent. Great. So your proposal should contain a title. Now, so I'll start explaining some of the things as we go along. Now, what we do now is that for most even journals and proposal, they expect that your study design should be part of your title. I'll explain that further. So, then your proposal should not necessarily abstract and summary. Most proposals don't have abstract and summary, but it is good. So the reason why you are doing that is if somebody, for instance, now if you want to show a research proposal to a state governor, you don't want to give him 2-3 pages. So that's what they call executive summary. So something that they can read like 300 words and then it will make sense. They don't have to know the nitty-gritty of your study. So that's why you need an abstract or summary at times. But most proposals don't contain it, so don't bother about that. Then background and rationale. So like I said, it might also just be called introduction section. And that's where you have background rationale, research problem and objectives, and all that. Another, then you move to method. So your method section, usually you see all this study design, setting population sampling, data collection, they are all under methodology. And sometimes even ethical consideration will be under methodology. It doesn't matter. It depends on how the guideline that they give you. Then you should have a section on expected outcome and significance of your study. You might need to write on your timeline, how long do you want to do this study for? When are you starting? And all of that. So that will include a section on when you are drafting proposal, when you are going to get ethical approval, when you start data collection, when you start data analysis, when do you want to disseminate, and then you need a reference for your proposal. And if usually, sometimes you need to put a budget, especially if you are working with funders. If you're writing to funders, if you're writing to a state governor to say, I want you to fund this, my research, you need to show them your budget as well. Okay, so so this is the tricky bit, which I think you kind of emphasize to me. Every email message you've been sending to me, you keep saying how to link section together logically. So I understand that sometimes people write disjointed things. So how do you make it to make sense? Your proposal. So usually your background or your introduction section should be explain why we need this study. Why is this study? Why do we need to do another study or do a study on the said topic? And then the objective should say what you particularly want to do, what you particularly want to achieve with that study. Your method will show us how you want to do the study, and then the expected outcome should explain what impact or relevance is your study going to have. Now, each section should naturally flow into the next. It should make sense, so it shouldn't be disjointed. So now let's talk about how to write. So at the end of this, I want to just quickly run through what a proposal should contain. Then at the end of it, then we will now use one or two people's study. So be thinking about what research topic you have that we can use to demonstrate. So now, for instance, so your title should be clear, concise, and should reflect your study design. So for instance, somebody can, maybe 2 or 3 people can put example of their study that they want to do in the chat. If you can do that. So then we'll use it to see how a title should look like. Can anyone do that? I want a study in the chat. Someone. Okay. So we're waiting for that person. So when I say that your study's title should be clear, concise, and should reflect your study design, so I want to show us what it means that a study has study design in the study title. Thank you, Adaji, Angel. So effect of sleep deprivation on medical students in University of Lokoja. That is a good study. So what that title should contain is also the study design. So what is your study design? So if it's going to be a cohort study, excellent. If it's going to be a case control study, excellent. But from looking at this study that Angel sent, it's most likely going to be a cross-sectional study. So it should be effect of sleep deprivation on medical students in University of Lokoja, a cross-sectional study, a cross-sectional observational study, something like that. Now, that will help whoever is looking at your proposal to know what you want to do. If what you want to do is a qualitative study, if what you want to do is a or it's a mixed method study, let that come out from your title. So include that. So let's say you want to do surveys, but you also want to interview them. So then that would be a mixed method observational study or something like that. So that would be in your title. If you want to just interview them, so you're just going to be a qualitative study. So put that as part of your title. So let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. Where should I put it? I don't have the right symbol. So this is what we're talking about now, the angel sent to us. Then I'm just going to put something like this. So depending on what I want to do, if I want to do a mixed method, I will just say mixed method observational study, something like that. If I want to do a cohort study, I'll just say or a qualitative study or qualitative study. The qualitative observational study depends. You can make it more thorough. But what this helps us to do is that if I'm the one reviewing your work, immediately I see your title, I should start having an idea of your study design. What approach did you use to do your study? Okay, now then the background. So your background should not just be broad. It will not just be, usually I will say the background section should start from, you can start from being general, but then you are going to become context specific as you're working through your background. So I think I've explained this before. So like all these background objectives and all these background objectives, even research question, should probably be part of what we call introduction. So you could say, let me add one research question. Okay, and I could move all of this to introduction. But like I said, it's not hard. There's not a fast road to this. So you can move all of this to say something like this. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah, great. Thank you, Mr. So you could see how I've just moved this. Like all of these background objectives, research question could be part of what you call introduction. But like I said, it really doesn't matter even if you leave it as background objective research question separately. Now, I think I've told you guys before that when you're writing a paper, usually your introduction section should include all this background and then objectives, research question, blah, blah, blah. Usually what should be contained in your background is a statement of the problem and a justification for your study. You can do, so inside this background now, you want to tell us how big of a problem is this thing. So let's use this angel study, which is on sleep. So what is the problem with sleep deprivation? So you can mention sleep deprivation has been associated with poor mental health outcome, poor whatever, and then so you quote a study that mentioned that. All right. Then you will now want to show us how big of a problem is sleep deprivation. So you can now say globally, so number of people are affected by sleep deprivation according to so and so study. In Nigeria, sleep deprivation is caused by blah, 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 blah. You're giving us context. Now, generally, medical students have been shown that they have sleep deprivation because of prolonged study, maybe packed curriculum, all of that. So you are giving us the background of this problem. Now, you now want to justify your study now. In justifying your study, you will now tell us that this study has not been done before. Or you can say, despite extensive study on deep deprivation in Nigeria, although plenty studies have been done on sleep deprivation in Nigeria, none has been done among medical students. So you want to show us that there is a gap for medical students particularly, and that's why you want to do it. So now you see, so you have given us, you have finished writing this part. From everything I've said now, I finished writing this part. Then maybe we should come back to it, but I like this sleep study. Then you now move to your objective. So your objective is that what do you want to achieve? So you want to understand the effect of sleep deprivation on medical students in University of Lokoja. You want to know the associated factors. You want to, all of that. Those are your objectives. So now, what is your research question? So I'll give you an example of a research question now for this study now. So if you want to do prevalence, so how prevalent is sleep deprivation among medical students at University of Lokoja? That's one research question. Another thing is, what are the factors associated with sleep deprivation among medical students at University of Lokoja? So you see, giving us idea of the question that you're asking. And then, so you move to your method. So now your method, this is the part where people have problem the most. You want to be very detailed, very thorough with your method. And you want to ensure that your method aligns with your objectives. If I said, I want to understand the factors associated with sleep deprivation, I can do a quantitative study, no problem. I can use surveys to understand. But if I said, I want to explore the experience of medical students that have suffered from sleep deprivation, if I want to explore their experience, it's not going to be a survey, it's going to be an interviews that I would do. So you see, that has moved me from quantitative study to qualitative study. Then, so your method must be detailed. And then your ethics. So ethics, now for every study, especially the non-reviews, if it's a review, you don't particularly need an ethics sections. For other studies, whether clinical trials, observational studies, or whatever, you want to include a thorough ethics section. And your ethics section, you want to mention that you have gotten ethical approval or how you are going to get ethical approval. So you see in a proposal, because you have not started the study, you are just going to mention that I will secure ethical approval from so and so place. So please off your mic, everyone. I think someone's mic is disturbing us. So like for ethical approval, now you want to mention how you get ethical approval. So for this study, now Angel can say, I'm going to get ethical approval from the University of Lokoja Ethical Review Board. Now, what do you want to do for the participant? How do you want to maintain ethical standard with the participant? Okay. Yeah, how do you want to maintain ethical standard with the participant? So what do you want to do with the participant to ensure that you're ethically sound? So for instance, so you are going to say, I'm going to get informed consent. I'm going to get informed consent from participants, and I'm going to maintain anonymity. All of that, I think that we are doing to protect the participant. Largely, you see, ethical approval is what are you doing to protect your own self. But you see, you must also be seen trying to protect the participant. So do you want to protect their anonymity, and do you want to also prevent them from being coerced? Because sometimes as researchers, we have undue influence. If I'm a lecturer and you guys are my students, there's a tendency for me to want to, there's a tendency for you to want to do a survey just because I'm the one administering the questionnaire, but that is wrong. So that is part of what should be clear, to say these are the things I'm going to do to prevent myself from having undue influence over you. So I want to ensure that it is actually you are doing it because you want to do it. So that is the concept of informed consent and all that. So that will be clear in your ethics statement. What again is here? Then, so timeline. So you can use a Gantt chart. So that's something that kind of show like your timeline of your research for each of the stages. But you can also just say from January so this is by August. So you can say, so Angel, now you can say from September I'm going to get my ethical write up my proposal and get ethical approval. Or you can just say September I'm going to write up my proposal, November I'm going to get my ethical approval, December I'm going to start my data collection, and then so December and January data collection, and then April is going to be my whatever. Let's say April is going to be my data analysis, and May next year you're disseminating your study. Depending on how big your study is, it could be shorter, it could be longer. So that is the idea of timeline. And then when you are done, I mean, there's also a section that probably is not here, which is on like the benefit of your study. So what is the benefit of your study, which you've mentioned? So you want to mention the significance. This study is going to be useful in that what? It will help release, is it going to be useful for the school, for the people themselves? What benefits will people get from the study? And then policymakers, things like that. Then you want to reference your proposal. So yeah, I think this is all. Now let's talk about the common mistake that people make in writing proposal. So common mistakes, can just be in your introduction session, just be broad. I'm going to study sleep deprivation. Where? With who? And so that's why you see that is a very good topic. And then if you don't provide a justification for your study, so as somebody that has done review a lot of paper, this is what I see often, that people don't tell us why they are doing what they are doing. Why are they doing this study? Why is this study needed? So is it because if somebody has done something on sleep deprivation before in the Kogi state and it has involved the whole state, or somebody has done sleep deprivation among all students in University of Lokoja before, all students, including medical students, there's no need for you to do that study. So you need to justify why that your own study is important. Why do you want to do it? So that is one of the reasons why you have to write a justification. So your justification should be like, despite the fact that some studies have been done on civil deprivation in Nigeria as a whole or in Lokoja, there's currently no study that focuses on medical students, or there's absent data. All of that, you're justifying your study, or you want to consolidate what is already known, or you want to generate new knowledge. All of that, this is the reason why this work should be done. Then yeah, objective and methodology not aligned is another common mistake. I've mentioned that if you want to explore experience, if you want to do a phenomenology, you will not be, that's a qualitative study. If you want to, and then another mistake is not giving sufficient detail in your method section. The method section should be very thorough, explaining everything that you want to do, the ethical approval process that you're going to go through, and all of that. Yeah, so these are some of the things that people make as mistakes. Sometimes people just miss references and all of that. Now, I'll say this as the last thing on this section, that when you are writing a proposal, you don't just want to copy what you see in other people's work. No, you are going to be writing this proposal in your own words because this is your work. So that's why, you don't want to, if you see a study on sleep deprivation that has been done before, you don't just want to copy what is there. You want to synthesize and understand what you are seeing from those literature and then write it in your own words. Now, also, maybe it's important to mention that not all proposals are of the same format. So you have to write your own proposal in relation to your study design. So your proposal has to be in relation to your study design. So I'll give you an example of where you can go to get idea of what your proposal to contain. Okay, so now I think this is the part where we write one. And so let's do one now. I think, yeah, let's do that. So let's use this interesting study that Angel has shared with us. Okay, excellent. So I want to show you, if I'm going to write on this study, what will I do? All right. So, okay, guys, are you with me? Is anybody tired? Does anybody want to stretch? Does anybody have any question at this point before I now show you practically? Okay, yeah. So let's take maybe one or two questions. Yes, Demi, please go ahead.
Talk so far. At the beginning of the of what you were saying, talk about a budget. So my question is, what part of the research proposal should the budget be in, and how detailed should your budget be, considering that in the middle of the project, some things may come up that you were not anticipating. So where should you put in the budget, and how detailed should your budget be to cover up for everything that may happen during the research work?
Yeah, excellent question. So sometimes I'll answer you from experience. So there are projects that I've written with no budget. For instance, for some of the projects that I'm just winging it, I'm just doing out of pocket spending for it. I don't, and that's for a number of studies that I've done. I don't write a budget section because I don't mind. But if so it depends. One is if the ethical review board that you are writing to, if they request a budget session, so you can just write a budget session. So that budget session should come, I would say, before your references. You should probably be the last thing before your references. So that it doesn't matter how you arrange it. Things that have to do with timeline and budget, all those ones, they are usually for your own guide. But if the ethical review board, if they request for it, so you submit a budget. How detailed should your budget be? Really, it also depends. And for instance, so I've seen some grant application, they will give you like a template of how thorough your budget should be. And I mean, I wouldn't be too thorough on my budget if I'm writing a budget for this sleep deprivation study now. I don't want to start saying I will buy pen, we might need pen. All of those will come under maybe things like stationaries or miscellaneous or something. So I will probably put together like all the major things that I need to spend money on, and then put others as miscellaneous. And so as regarding where it should be before reference, it should probably be the last thing or second to the last thing if your timeline is your last thing. Then unforeseen expenses, yes, you have to plan for that. There is a different training for how to budget for projects, and which is beyond the scope of here, but there's a different training for it. But I would say, as students, and I mean, as maybe early career doctor at our level, you probably don't want to bother so much about that, and you can just put all of your major spendings. Budget is budget because you are kind of looking to the future. You are not sure of what you spend, so you want to cover some of the things that are unforeseen as well. So you plan for it in your budget. Yeah. Okay. Any other question? All right. Moving on. Okay, so if I want to write on that study, the effect of sleep deprivation among medical at the University of Lokoja, you see, this is the place where I will come to first. I will want to find out if anything has been done on this before. I want to know what has been done before. So these are the things that's why I come to do literature search and review first. Now, so let me see. Effects of sleep deprivation should be amongst medical students at University of Lokoja, Nigeria. Okay, so let's see what we got. So we're looking for studies that have been done in the last 10 years. So interestingly, we don't have anything on this from PubMed. Let's look at forever. We don't have any study on this. So now this is what I will do next. I'm still looking for, now this is just one place. You could look elsewhere. You can go to Google Scholar. Let me see, Scholar. Yeah. And also search. Okay, so something has been done in JOS. Sleep disorder and its effects on academic performance of medical students in JOS, not in JOS. So this is good. Are you following me? And I want to be sure that I'm not with myself. If I see 2 thumbs up, I know you're following me. Thank you, Angel. Yes, this is your study. So I've seen that something has been done in JOS. And the benefit of that is this is something that we can duplicate. If it's something that they did and they did so well, the fact that it even got published, it means this is something that we can duplicate. So I've seen that something has been done in JOS, so this is good. Yeah, so this is good. All right. Then the prevalence and pattern of sleep disorder among final year medical students in teaching hospitals in sub-Saharan Africa. Where is this? Or Saibovo? It might also be, this is also JOS. So they did it in JOS 2020, 2023. Okay. Where is this one? Another one, medical student. Okay, so this is ABU. Or where? At a Nigerian university. So where is this one? Method. Okay, let me see. Method. Benin City. This was in Benin. So that is good. So you see, this has been done in a couple of places. So you actually have enough studies to cite. But you see that, oh, this is in Kogi State. But what is this one? Social psychological effect of drug abuse on students of tertiary institutions. Okay, so does this include medical students? So let's look at their method to see if it includes medical students or if it didn't. Okay, so method. Among students in tertiary institutions in Kogi State. Because if this has been done for all tertiary students, there might not be need for you to do it again. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Look at the study design. The study was carried out in 3 selected tertiary institutions in Kogi State, Nigeria. Include Prince Abubakar Audu University, Ayingwa, and Kogi State Polytechnic, and Federal College of Education, Okene. So superb. So you see, you're already getting a lot of idea of what you want to write now. So now, I've already gotten some background. I've seen that. Let's say that I would like to also put it in Google, regular Google, because sometimes some publications, because they are not, just some journals are not cited in like PubMed, because they are not indexed in PubMed or Google Scholar. You will not see it here. So it might be in like gray literature. So I want to type my question in Google and see what do I get. So it doesn't look as if anyone has been done particularly in Lokoja. So okay. So now I can't find any particular ones in Lokoja now so far. So that is good. So now you see, I'm getting an idea of my study. So what do I want to do now? So I'm coming back here. You see all these studies that I've seen. I'm going to now, I want to keep them. Usually I would like to keep them in my reference manager, but you can also keep them in another way. So there are several ways that you can keep it. So this is what we used to do. I will show you what we used to do before the advent of AI and all these writing tools. And then I'll show you what I would do now. But I'm trying to take you, ordinarily I wouldn't go this long process, but I'm trying to take you through the process. So let me show you what I would do. So if I'm going to do previous, I'm going to come here and write previous similar study. This is me doing literature review, previous similar study. So this, okay, Control Z. Then I'm bringing out this study. So this one, I can copy it. I can just copy the DOI, or I can just put it here. So this is previous similar study. This is just, this is me writing previous similar study. If there is the one in Benin. So you see, I can just put the one for Benin here. Where is it? So we have the one for Benin as well. Previous similar study, the one of Benin. Where is it? I think it's here. Yes. Yeah, this is the Benin. This is the Benin one. I can just copy this. This is one way to do it. I copy all of this and the one of Kogi, you can give a bit more context. If I'm the one, if I don't want to keep everything in my head, I can just give a bit context to say this medical student study just blah blah blah. This one Benin medical student. If there's anything that makes sense to me after reading through it, I put all of this here. Now, in this day and age, like the Kogi one, I'll put it here as well. In this day and age, I wouldn't do this anymore. Let me put the Kogi one first. Where is it? Kogi one. Yeah, this is the one. But they did it in Kogi, but they did not do it for University of Lokoja or whatever. So now, whatever they found out, I'll put it. Whatever makes sense to me from all of these studies, I'm writing it here. This is how we used to do it in those days. I wouldn't do this anymore. This is what I would do now. If I were to be doing this now, this is what I would do. Let me show you. So ordinarily, so you can see here, I have my reference managers, which is Mendeley, Zotero. I have my Zotero. I believe that somebody has talked about reference managers and how to use reference managers. All right. Yes, I'm aware that Josh has taught you reference manager. Angel did not come that day. Look, somebody has taught reference manager how to use reference manager. Thank you, Mesoma. Look, did somebody teach reference manager?
Dr. Joshua did not really touch that, and he was in a hurry. He was not supposed to do all the reference stuff, all of that. Why we not really touch that.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is not the direction of this study, but my assumption is that you know how to use reference manager. So even if somebody has not taught it, you cannot survive without it. Reference manager. So Zotero, Mendeley, EndNote, all of those things, you need it. I probably say Zotero is the easiest to use, and it's free. Mendeley as well. I'm not sure if it's free, but I know I probably have access. I have access to it and I use it. Maybe because of my university access, but I'm not sure. So then similar thing for EndNote. What you can do is that you can get on YouTube and learn how to use all of, I think Zotero is even pretty easy to use. Some of us have it, some people might not. And does any of you have a Zotero and know how to use it, have idea of how to use it? If I have that person, let me just see a thumbs up. Okay, yes, thank you, Demi. So some people have idea of, yeah, thank you. So if you don't, please go and learn how to use Zotero or Mendeley. So download the reference manager, and then they are very easy to use. What they do for you is that instead of having to keep everything in your head or keep everything in this kind of paper, they will just arrange everything for you. So this is what I would do. Now, this is what I would do now. If I open this just study, I'm just going to click on my Zotero. If I click on this my Zotero, it automatically has saved it. I've made a folder called NiMSA Bootcamp because it automatically saved this study there. Save it to my Zotero automatically. Then I come to the next one. Which is the one of this. This is the Zaria one. I just automatically click on my Zotero here because I already have the plugin. Automatically save it. This is what I will do now. This is not what I used to do, but this is what I will do now. If I come to my Zotero, you see it that the two studies are already here. These two studies are already here. Yeah. If I want to make a note on it based on what I've written, I can make my own notes. I can keep it and all of that. But you see, this is what has already been done. So if I want to add notes, I can add my notes to it. This is notes for my own personal use. I can do that. And this is pretty easy. So this is what I will do now. Now let's move on, because we're still writing. So I've gotten all of these studies. Now let's say I've gotten all of these studies. Now I have a good understanding of the previous studies that have been done, and I know that this study has not been done. So what do I want to do next? Why do I think that sleep deprivation is a problem? So now you see, is sleep deprivation a problem? Sleep deprivation. So I want to search how much of a problem is sleep deprivation. So globally. So I want to do globally. So I can use this, or I can use the other one. What's the other one? PubMed. So let's do PubMed. This is a good study. Sleep disturbance, sleep duration, and inflammation is systematic review. So this is the systematic reviews. They are very broad. So if there is something that is global, so I want to see how much of a problem is sleep deprivation globally. So I want to get idea of how much of a problem sleep deprivation is globally. So if I do, let me open this one out to see where did the systematic review English language publication was performed, exclusion of primary research article that characterized sleep disturbance or sleep duration, perform experimental, blah blah blah. So what did they find out? Sleep disturbance and long sleep duration, but not short duration, associated with increase in markers of systemic inflammation. So this is one of the side effects. We've already seen that it's associated with systemic inflammation, blah blah blah. So you want to read some of these studies to get idea of how much of a problem this is. You can go to another. You can go to another place. Look at this one. Good study. Global prevalence of sleep deprivation in students and heavy media use. So this is a good study. So let's see what they say. So I'm going to read all of these things and to find out how much of a problem this is. You can read all of it, but I'm just going to go to the conclusion now. Improving student sleep require effort from school, parents, and students themselves. First, parents should pay more attention to their children's sleep. A study by National Sleep Foundation found that although 51% of adolescents reported lack of sleep, 51% and 9% of parents were aware of their sleep problem. Also, computer and internet use tend to be spontaneous and unstructured, and lack of adult supervision, blah blah blah. So you are seeing how much of a problem sleep. So now I've got an idea of how much of a problem this is. This is a new study this year, Global Perspective on Sleep Health. So how much of a problem is this? So I'm going to see this. Blah 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 blah. Sleep health remains consistent, defined across. So what is the conclusion? Poor sleep is associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity, metabolic dysfunction. So you see, this is a study that I want to cite. You know how I'm going to do it? I'm going to keep it to my Zotero or my Mendeley, any of them. Click on it, automatically saves it for me. So you see, I'm already having idea that poor sleep is associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity, blah 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 blah. So I've got an idea. I've synthesized. This is my own thoughts now. So now I've done globally. I will now come and do Nigeria. I'll now come and do Nigeria because I want to kind of bring it home. Sometimes if you don't find Nigeria, you do Africa. If you don't find, so now, but this is just for you to have some form of context. This is the combined exposure to chronic sleep deprivation, blah blah blah. Caffeine and sleep deprivation mediated change in open field behavior. So if I can't find anything there, depending on where you're searching, I can go back to this place and look for it. Nigeria. This is also the old way now. So this is something that has been done in Lagos. This is something that has been done in Kwara State, nursing students. So there are a lot of studies on sleep deprivation in Nigeria, so which is good. So you read all of these studies to have idea of what is happening in Nigeria. If you want to save them, you save them to a reference manager. If you don't have reference manager, you use this old method of copying it and writing your thoughts. Are we following me so far? Thank you. Now, when you've now done all this your review, you now want to start writing. Now remember that I come here now. Now, from all of these things that I've pieced together, I want to write. So the title of my study is let me see. This is the title of my study, and I want to do a mixed method or a cross-sectional observational study. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Now, I want to write an introduction. Now, remember that I said this introduction, it should contain, or background or whatever, it should contain background, statement of the problem, justification for your study, right? Objectives, and maybe research question. So now I already know, I have some idea that sleep globally, sleep deprivation has been associated with blah blah blah. Associated with blah blah blah. I'm writing how much of a problem it is. Then, so this is my background now. So this is giving me idea of the background of my study. So sleep deprivation is associated with so thing. I also want to know, this is me now from my own experience, I want to know how much of sleep deprivation is common among medical students globally. I'm putting all of that here. Now, so that also, it also has fused with my statement of the problem, because my statement of the problem is to say that how much of a problem is this in medical students. So we can mention that previous studies in Jos, in Zaria, and in Benin have shown that sleep deprivation to be common among medical students. I'm writing my own words now. Then I will now come to my justification for this study. No study, despite studies in different parts of Nigeria, no study in University of Lokoja. So what will my study do? See, part of my justification, I can now say, so this is going to be the first of a kind study in blah blah University of Lokoja. This study will inform. So what's the aim of my study? I mean, what would be the benefit of my study? I can mention it here. So this study is going to inform how to approach or engage medical students as regarding sleep health, blah blah blah. So what is my objectives? My objectives, I'm coming here to say to study the prevalence of sleep deprivation among medical students. And so I want to know how much of, how many medical students are actually having sleep deprivation in University of Lokoja, and then how much of a problem it is to study the factor associated, to also probably know the effect on academic performance and other areas of their life. So you see, I already have some objectives. So then based on that feed into my research question. So this is how we will do an introduction section. So I already have references for some of these things, so I won't have to struggle. So if I have already, put some of these things in my Zotero or my Mendeley. So for instance, now, all these studies, if I've already, like this global deprivation study, if I've put it in my Mendeley, I should be able to sign in. Yes. Good. If I've saved it in my reference manager, which is now saved, I don't have to struggle when I'm writing, because when I come here and I'm writing, all I just need to do, I said, I'm with many health, many negative health outcomes. So now I want to reference this thing that I said now. I don't have to struggle because I already have it in my reference manager. See, this is the study here. All I just need to do is just to insert it. Yeah, I already have it here. If I want to do my references, that's how I'll do for all of them. If I want to do my references at the end, what do I need to do? I just need to I just need to ask this guy to insert my bibliography here, and it will do it. So you can see this is already the reference. I don't have to worry about cramming it, copying it somewhere, and all of that. So this makes perfect sense. For Zotero, you can do the same thing. All you just need to do is to install like a Zotero connector for your Microsoft Word, and then for also the plugin for your Chrome or whatever browser you're using. Pretty simple, straightforward. Now, so all of this will be us writing the introduction section. Now, what do we need to include in the method section? So let me stop here first to take questions, because I believe that, Angel, if you are not busy, all this period I'm using, you should be using it to kind of figure out and writing all of these things. So effects on medical students globally, Nigeria, medical students or students generally. So, Nigeria, all of that, you put it here. Justification, no study, University of Lokoja, blah, blah, blah. Your objectives, you already have your objectives. You want to know the prevalence, you want to know the factors that are causing it, and you want to know the effects. Based on what you have seen other people study, in fact, you can go to that job study or that Zaria study, and if you think that their method is perfect, or you can join the two of them together to kind of copy, get idea of what they've done, and just join it together. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, let's come to method. Now, for method, like I said, you can copy what is already done if they have done it so well. In fact, the fact that they publish it means it was done well. Now, what you can do is you can copy their method, or you can write your own method. So if you want to copy the method for the just study now, I think the just study is here. This is the just study. We can just open it. Good. That's directly from my Zotero. You see, I don't have to worry about keeping it or storing it somewhere. So let's look at their method. What did they do? This was a descriptive cross-sectional study conducted on final year medical student at Jos University Hospital practitioners. The Sleep 50 Epworth Daytime Sleepiness Scale and Emotional Stability Test. Big 5 questions, version 1. So you see, this is the tool that they use. You've already seen this is a relevant tool. And used to identify sleep disorder, daytime sleep, as well as emotional stability, respectively. Logistic regression was used to assess the relationship between sleep disorder and academic performance, as well as, so you see the check for effect on academic performance, as well as other factors that affect. So what did they do? What is their result? 141 students responded to 158 questionnaire that were distributed. Their age ranged from 23 to 46 years with a mean of 27 years. There was female to male ratio is 1 to 2, blah, blah. So what did they find out? Well, half of the respondents had sleep disorder. So you already seen a prevalence of 50%. Narcolepsy being the most common type of sleep disorder, while sleepwalking was the least common. Circadian rhythm sleep disorder was associated with poor academic performance. So you see, sleep disorder is associated with poor academic performance. So these are things that you can cite in your study. So now let's look. So you've seen their method. This is what they use. What other thing? How did they sample? So you can look through it to see what method did they use. Look through the Zaria one. This is the instrument they use. Sleep 50, Epworth, whatever. How did they analyze? What ethical process did they go through? So once you have all of these, you're writing your own. Now, don't forget that you can write all of this, put your question and everything. You can finish writing all of this. You can even paraphrase. At least now with the age of AI, you can paraphrase and write everything and ask AI to help you to write it nicely. So whether it is Metal, Grook, or ChatGPT, you can ask them to help you write it nightly. Just maintain your references and all of that. So this is how to write an introduction section. Does this make sense to any one of us so far? Okay. Good hope. Okay. Now, does anyone have question at this point? Because now I want to talk about how to write your method. No question. Good. Now let's talk about how to write your method section. Now for your method section, you can have idea from all this previous work that have been done. Okay, so let's take Anthony's question. Anthony, please go ahead. Ask your question, please, Anthony. We can't hear you if you're talking. Okay, so the guy is now with us.
Hello, sir. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So when trying to review past studies on a particular research, are we going to read the whole research paper from the beginning to the end? Is it a must to read the whole research from the beginning to the end?
Okay, excellent. Fine question. It's not a must for you to read. I mean, when you are reading, you are gaining knowledge for yourself first. And so if you read everything is good, but then if you, it's a skill that you pick up later to know what you are looking for and to know where to go. So if I read through the abstract and I see that this paper will not contain what I'm looking for, or what I'm looking for is already in the abstract, I can just move on. Or what I'm looking for is already in the results, or it's in the discussion, I can just move on. But it's not a must. I mean, if you read, it's good for you. Yeah, but it's not a must.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Excellent. Great. So now let's talk about how to write a method section. Now, for you to write a method section, I've mentioned that you can copy the previous method that have been done, that they've been done so well, so far that you have the same study design. You must ensure that your method, your approach match your study design. So match your objectives. So usually this is what I would do for a method section. This is this would be like the best way. And then we'll now talk about the adapted ways. So there are things that you don't want to miss in the method section. And I think I have something here to show. Yes, let me see. What do you have to be here? Good. So now you can see for your method section, you want to include what is your study design, what participant, or how are you working with your participant of subject. You don't use subject again. You're actually very careful about that word. So participants. Then what materials or instrument are you going to be using? You can see for that sleep study, we've seen that Epworth thing that they use. You can decide to write your own survey. What procedures are you going to, what's the step-by-step process for you that you're going to use to carry out this study? What ethical considerations and all of that. So these are part of your method. So inside this participant, you want to see what is your sampling frame? What is your sample size? How do you want to sample? All of that, they are part of participant. Inside research design, you're talking about what type of study design is it? Is it a cross-sectional study, or is it experimental study? Is it a review that you are doing? Is it going to be a qualitative or quantitative study? All of that, or mixed method, all of that are part of your research design. Inside your participant, you are talking about where are they from? Is it good? And then what's your sampling frame? What's your sample size? How do you want to sample? That's part of your participant. Inside your material or instrument, let me just confirm. Can you see my screen? Excellent. Excellent. Inside your material and instrument, you're talking about what do you want to use to collect your data. So for that just study, they say they use that Epworth something scale. So it's something that you print. Do you want to do an internet survey? Do you want to do a survey? Do you want to do an interview and use an interview guide? or do you want to develop your own survey, which is kind of common. So that was talking about the instrument that you're going to use to collect your data. And even that instrument, how do you want to be sure that if you develop your own, how do you want to be sure that it's a good instrument? So are you going to do like validity testing? Are you going to do like pre-testing and all of that? Then procedure, you're just talking about the step-by-step process. So you go from this step to this step to this step. You are just explaining your method. Then your data analysis, you talk about how do you want to analyze, what software are you going to use, and what statistical method or test are you going to apply, and all of that. So that's part of your method. So these are generally what you include in a method section for an observational study. However, not all studies are observational. So this is what I will do to get idea of what I need to include in my method section. So let me show you. Where is that my Google thing? Yeah, here. So if you come to, I think I've mentioned this. People that were at the last study will know that I mentioned this. I talk about equator network. I said if you want to get idea of what your method section should contain, you should come here and download some of these, depending on the type of study that you are doing. If you're doing a trial, you can come and download your reporting guideline here. It is completely free. So if you go to equitynetwork.org, which you can see here, you can see the different type of studies here. So if you're doing observational study, you can come and download the reporting guideline here. Depending on the kind of type of observational study that you're even doing, you can find a reporting guideline here. If it's an internet one, if it's whatever, you can find a reporting guideline here and download it. So let me see. Generally for observational study, what you need is strobe. Now this strobe guideline, you can download it. If I download, let me download this strobe guideline to see. So it's this strobe guideline for combine, for core study, for case control, for cross-sectional. What we are doing for this sleep study is a cross-sectional study. So let me download this strobe guideline for cross-sectional study. Excellent. So let's look at what this contains. It to give you an idea of what you should report. So if you come here now, you see what you should report in this study. Okay, so come to your method. They say your method should contain a study design, which will present key element of study early in the paper, and then setting. Describe the setting, location, and relevant dates, including period of recruitment, exposure, follow-up, and data collection. Participants, give eligibility criteria, the source and method of selection of participants. So you see, and then variable, clear different outcome, blah, blah, blah. All of the things I think you need in your method section are here. So based on that reporting guideline, you can use it. For me, I probably don't need a reporting guideline again because I've done it over and over and over again. But this might be something that can help you. So this will help you to know what you should include in your method section. So if I'm writing my method section, I just follow what is there. If you copy that out and you just start filling it in, it gives you a good idea of what you include in your method section. Okay. And then the other section, which is like on the benefit of your study, you definitely have idea. Now, this is also not how I will write now, but for somebody that started from the beginning, that's one of the ways to write. Okay. Now, I probably will just write if I'm writing. All right. So now, let me now show you another ways to write. So now people use AI to write, which, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it, but that shouldn't be how you should start writing. You see, all of this thing that we have taken now is the wrong route, because we just ask AI to write a proposal on that study for you. But I mean, and I think it's going to be really better in the next future, such that people will be able to write all of these things with AI in the nearest future without stress. Are you still with me, guys? Are you still with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let me, and it's also good for you to have all the understanding of what I've said now, even if you are going to write with AI, because then you can actually edit properly. you can actually review properly. AI is not perfect. AI doesn't know many things, and AI makes mistake. AI doesn't understand context as much as you. So if you have done all of those, your literature search and review, you will know what to do. So let's use AI to write the protocol for that study. Write the protocol for study. Let me see, for a cross-sectional study on the effect. I should find it. Okay, effect of sleep on the effect of sleep among medical students at University of Lokoja, Nigeria. Include so the study them to assess, your output is as good as your prompt. Your prompt should be very good. The study aim to assess prevalence, effects, and associated source. This will be an internet survey distributed. Because if you do not give AI enough prompt, it can just write something very broad for you, but you can move it around yourself on class WhatsApp groups. On class WhatsApp groups. What again do I want to include? All right, so there you go. So maybe there's something that I did not include. Should I stop it and include it? Yeah, let me include it. Cite all relevant references. Cite and reference appropriately. So one of the issues with AI is that it will generate wrong references. I think ChatGPT is trying now, but before, it used to just generate any jargon that I can see for you. Okay, so let's go. We should end up good. Okay, so this is what we have. So I'm just going to copy this, and then we'll come and see how we can make this AI thing better based on what we now know. All right. So like I said, this is the easier way, but it's not necessarily a better way. So you need to know this way and know the other way so that you can know what to make better. Okay, so now let's see how well this AI has written for us. Protocol title: Prevalence, Event, and Share Factor of Sleep Deprivation among medical students at the University of Lokoja, a cross-sectional internet survey. Did you see how he make our title so clear such that anybody that's reading it already know what they are diving into? Principal investigator is not Paul, it's Angel now. I'm the supervisor. Department of Medicine, Lokoja, yes. So this is the day. All right, so background rationale. So let me see what he has written for the background. Sleep deprivation and poor sleep quality are common among medical students and are associated with impaired cognitive function, daytime sleepiness, poor outcome, performance, poor disturbance, risk taking, blah. So you can already see this is already This is exactly what we'll have written something similar to this. A recent global meta-analysis expected that a large proportion of medical students have poor sleep quality and excessive daytime sleepiness. Let me see the study that the guy looked for. Okay. This is, and I think, I'm not sure if we have this study before, but you see, it generated a very good study and a good reference for it. So praise God for that. And then multiple studies from Nigeria and other low-income country settings report high prevalence of poor sleep associated with. So you see, now it's being context specific, which is what we talk about. Right? Understand the prevalence, effect associated. Okay. Now, but you see that this guy did not include the justification for our study. Validated brief questions such as peaceful sleep divine and Epworth sleepiness scale allows standardized assessments, blah, blah, blah. So this is not even needed here. You don't have to, you can. What did this say? Multiple studies from Nigeria or other low-income country, blah, blah, blah. Locally relevant data at University of Lokoja are not available. So what is that? Angel, that's the justification for your study. You see? Understanding the prevalence, effect, and associated factor will help inform blah. So this is awesome. Let me see. So what reference did it generate here? Now you see what I would rewrite some of these things to say, despite that studies have been done in so and so places and all of that, you can see that although this AI has written for you, there's no how this AI will have written as perfectly. There's some things that you have to include yourself based on your own study. So like that just study, that Zaria study, you want to mention how previous studies have been done in just Zaria, blah, 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 but none has been done for University of Lokoja. A previous study at University of Lokoja, at Lokoja itself, include the College of Education, the Polytechnic, but none has been done for that your university itself. So you see, you cite those other studies and then use it as an example for why this has not, why your study is really relevant, because even within the state, nothing has been done for medical students. Now, so you see, you can make this better and cite why you are making it better. Then primary aim, to estimate the prevalence of sleep deprivation and poor sleep quality. So that's your primary aim. So that's the idea of prevalence. Describe self-reported effect of sleep deprivation on academic performance, mood and daytime function. Okay, so all of these are other things. You don't have to, you can delete some of these things. I can delete, so some of the factors, blah, you can delete some of these. And then to provide recommendation for student support and possible further research. Superb. Now, so what do you want to do? What is your study design? Cross-sectional study, an internet-based anonymous survey distributed via existing class WhatsApp group. Study setting and period. University of Lokoja, we target all enrolled medical students from year 1 to final year. And what period? So you see data collection will be from so these are some of the things that we've mentioned that they are there. And it's help you to even calculate the sample size based on, you can calculate your sample size now based on the number of students that are in Lokoja, which I don't know, but you know. So you calculate that and all of that. So this, now what I would do with these references is that although this thing writes well, sometimes the references are wrong. So it gave wrong references for wrong things. So what I would do is, even if you write something, even if AI are written something for me, I can look for a reference for this thing. And I think I've shown you guys how to use MediSearch or Perplexity before. So if I come to MediSearch now to say, AI has said this thing, because AI can give you wrong references at times, to say, AI has said this thing and has given me a wrong reference. Sleep deprivation and poor sleep quality are common among medical students. So now I want MediSearch to help me to reference this. So MediSearch can help me. Yes. So it says sleep deprivation and poor sleep quality and did significant issues among medical students with several negative consequences. So it's giving me references for it. So this is a 2023 study, which is superb. You see, so I can now reference this. I just need to go to full text and it will give me on PubMed where this study is. I've already seen the study. I can reference it. By opening it up, I do not agree. By opening it up, all I just need to do is to click on my Zotero or my Mendeley, and then I'll have it saved. So if I click on my Mendeley, automatically saved it, right? So if I come to write, go back to my writing page. Where's my writing page? If I go back to my writing page now, I can reference this now based on what I found online. So even if AI had given me a wrong reference, I just need to come to my, for people that are still following me, come to my Mendeley site, and I'll see it here. This is it. That's the one that I just added, and I just cite it. So it has added it for me. If I come here, you see that it has added it. You add it as my reference. So that is what I will do now with AI. So I think, so the other sections are like on the benefit of the studies, on the ethical considerations, all of that. So you can see even mentioned reporting, follow reporting guidance for observational, cross-section observational study using strobe equator network, which are some of the things I've mentioned to you guys. What are ethical consideration? He even wrote for ethical which shall be sought from University of Lokoja, Institutional Health Research Ethics Committee. Participation is voluntary. No identifying information will be collected. So that's, we're talking about anonymity, and then people can pull out at any time and all of that. So this is how to write the research proposal. There are things that get better over time as you write, but you have to keep writing and then you improve in the skills. Okay. So I think I'll take question here before I will now. Okay. Yes. Excellent. I believe that this Anthony's hand is from previous time, and he should be suffering from some pain now by now. So Anthony, please lower your hand. Duke. Okay, Chuko, please go ahead. We can't hear you yet. Hi, Duke.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so thank you very much for the session. It was really, really eye-opening. I wanted to just know, please, can you share that prompt you used on ChatGPT?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Happy to do that. Okay. All right. I believe that, in fact, this sleep study person now should actually seriously do this sleep study. All right. That was the prompt. Excellent. Any other question before we draw the curtain? So I'm tired from talking at you people without getting. Yeah, okay. Yes. Let me please ask you a question. We can't hear you yet. Okay, I think probably it's also a previous one. So I think this is where we will now draw the curtain. So as requested by Luke and the Bootcamp team, it is that each one of us should draft our research proposal and submit it before next weekend. Or Luke, do you want to provide some instructions here so that, and then as regarding where they will send it and all of that?
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Paul. Once again, please let's applaud him. If you are still on the call, please let's applaud him. Applaud him. I'll be sending the announcement now. Please let's applaud him. If you are still there, just applaud him. Thank you so much, Dr. Paul, for always coming through for us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I've sent the attendance link because I know sending it earlier, so people might just take attendance and just go. That's why I always keep the attendance list. to the very end of the lecture. So if you are still here to react, and let him know that we appreciate. So regarding the assignment, I've already sent to you guys earlier. I told you they already know how to submit and all of that. So it's not the first time. By every lecture we have assignments they do. So each group leader, because we divide them into groups. So each group leader engage your group members, get your head together and do the assignments, and then submit. Because all this is going to be instrumental when you start your actual rights and all of that. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget once again the deadline is next week Saturday. So I say attendance link. If the attendance is not opening for you, just write your name in the chat box. I'll compile everything later. So tomorrow we'll be having another session with Dr. Joshua Kwanichi, and I'll communicate the time once again with you. You know, he's a very busy somebody. So when I talk to him after this call, I'll send the time for tomorrow's class with you people. So until then, thank you once again for coming. Dr. Paul, once again, we appreciate you for this coming through for us. So I'll be taking the closing prayer now, but I'll stay on the call for like 10 to 20 more minutes so that those who have not filled in the attendance form will do so. And if I hear to type your name in the chat box,